But we're so pleased to see so many people here this morning for our celebration. Together in this room we've got people who've worked in this building for many, many years, lots of our current team running the library today, people I know that remember coming to the library as children, and lots of our partners and supporters that work with us. And we also have members of the project team who helped to realise the refurbishment of this building 18 months ago. So thank you all for taking the time to come and share the celebration with us this morning. I think when I look at the photos, and you'll see lots of photos over there, when I look at the photos from the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, and there's some pretty shocking fashions to be seen. And then you wander around the library today, and one of the great pleasures of working for the library service as the head of libraries is being able to just walk around and seeing how people use the library. But one of the things that strikes me walking around are all the stories that this library holds. And I don't really mean the books on the shelves, though those are very important stories and they take people off in interesting directions. But really what this library has is the stories of everybody that's used this building over the last 50 years. And you talk to some library staff that have worked here over 50 years and you realise there are some absolutely hilarious stories of things that have happened here, some really strange and quirky things that have happened over the last 50 years. And also some really moving things about what this library has done. We invite you to think about your stories of the library this morning. We've got a memory wall downstairs in the entrance foyer, and we'd really like you to share your stories of the library and what it means for you. But I do, thinking about that 50 years ago, thinking about everybody in their best frocks and on their best behaviour, we've got a really lovely video to show of the original footage of Princess Marina coming. And it really felt a bit like that for us last year when we had the Duchess of Cornwall come and open the library for us after the refurbishment. It's an incredibly special day, and actually to have royalty in the building, it just gives something and lifts everybody and makes it a very, very special day. But do you think, think this morning about how many thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people, whose lives have been improved by using this library over the last 50 years. All the people that have come seeking information, knowledge, a place to be, help and support from the staff here, simply a place to come and see a regular friendly face. And I think as the head of the library service for Devon, I think I'm just so enormously proud of the library. I'm very, very grateful to all of my predecessors, and particularly those who were responsible for developing this building 50 years ago, for making what is truly a very special library, I think, for the people of Exeter and for wider Devon. I think for my part, when we reopened the library 19 months ago and walking around on that first day, it was truly, I've worked in libraries for well over 20 years. It was probably the proudest moment of working in libraries for all of that time. A few statistics for you. We've gone into the depths and found some good statistics. So today, in an average day in the library, every single hour that the library is open, on average, over 200 people walk through the door every single hour. It's extraordinary. And in the past year, we've had over 600,000 visits to the library. It makes us the busiest library in the southwest. I tell my colleagues in Bristol and Plymouth at regular intervals that we are busier than them. And we're in the top 20 busiest libraries across the whole of the UK. So this library is doing incredibly well and serving people very well. Since we reopened last year, over 12,500 people have joined the library for the first time, so I think that really shows the draw of having a new library. And we think, we've done the estimates, we think that over the past 50 years the library has issued around 25 million books and received around 26 million visits, which is amazing to think of all of that. What's really powerful, I think, is the use of this library by children and families. And it's interesting, in 1967, when the library opened, 13% of all of the books that were issued in the library were issued to children. Today, that percentage is 45%. It's almost exactly the same number of books, interestingly, but just showing how vibrant this library is for children and families. And just to add to that, this summer, over 1,300 children in the city took part in the Summer Reading Challenge in the library. So if you say children aren't interested in books and reading in libraries, I think we've got the facts to prove otherwise. And just to show we've moved into the 21st century, just in the last year there have been over 150,000 hours of use of Wi-Fi and PCs in this building, so extraordinary. So our absolute intention as we move forward as a library service is to keep growing the use of the library, and you can see now that the library offers such a wide range of services, and people who spend hours, days, weeks in this library, people see come every day. For us, books and reading and developing that love of reading, particularly in children, will always be at the heart of what our libraries are for. But we keep developing new services, such as our Fab Lab and the cafe, so that the library keeps pace with really how people live their lives today. And I think it's really important for libraries to keep developing and changing. So lots of things have changed over the years, and if you look over there, you'll see some of the rules and regulations from bygone eras, and I'm sure there are some people out there who would like to bring some of those rules and regulations back, but we're now much more, hopefully much more customer friendly than we would have been in the past. There was something about whipping people over there, the head of libraries was allowed to do, which might be appealing or something. The staff are looking worried now. But I think things do change, but what will never change, and what's important to all of our libraries, and something I feel really passionate about, are those fundamental values that make libraries such unique civic and community spaces. They are spaces that welcome everyone in, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're old or young, well educated or not. You don't need money to use the library, you can just come in, you're all welcome, everybody's the same. And we welcome you into a safe and welcoming space, and those are the values that libraries need to hang on to, and they've always been here. I'm sure they were here 50 years ago, and they're absolutely here now. So I hope you will join me in thanking all of our staff and volunteers, past and present, those that you see on the library floor and those that make it happen behind the scenes, for all that they've done and what they continue to do to offer such a good service here. It is no doubt in my mind that it's the staff that create the atmosphere of the library. You can have the most beautiful library in the world, but actually it's the staff that create the atmosphere. And I'm really grateful to the current staff team here who created such a warm and welcoming atmosphere in our refurbished library. Thanks to them and to all of you as our partners, as our supporters, as our customers for helping to develop the library. I think you'll agree we've had a fantastic 50 years. And with our refurbishment last year, the library is all set for another 50 years at the heart of the city. So Councillor Leadbetter is going to say a few words in a few minutes, but I would just invite you this morning to sign our birthday card, which has been very lovingly created by Ruth Wiggins, one of our volunteers in the Fab Lab. So it's a 3D card, do please sign it. We have a birthday cake which has been very kindly provided by Cartridge's solicitors, so do hang around for a piece of birthday cake. We would like to get a photo of everybody that's here behind the cake as a record of today. But thanks to all of the team who put this together this morning, the celebration together. We hope that the library is keeping functioning while this is happening. There are a few staff still downstairs. I would like to say particular thanks to Judy Crackley, wherever she is, whose father was so involved in the original library, and Judy continues to work here today, and who's very kindly dug out some of the memorabilia here. Do please have a look at the quiet area downstairs. There's 3 cabinets there that have got some really lovely photos and memorabilia, and it's worth having a look at that. So that's all from me for now, but other than to say happy birthday, Exeter Library.
Ciara, thank you for that, and what a success Exeter Library is and will continue to be. I think you've only got to look at these figures. With all the competition that libraries have now, with everybody on their webs and on their phones and all these Twitter accounts, I don't even know the names of the I think it still shows, it is a testament to the fact that you cannot beat printed material. I'm a collector of books. I collect books on architecture and on history and things like that. And again, it's all very well to go online and read it, but at the end of the day, you haven't got that actual record of things, and you can't beat having something on a bookcase. So I think it's a tremendous achievement. It's interesting that actually the same day that Exeter Library was opened, also County Hall was opened. I don't know if you knew that. The same builder, Stavertons, who came out of Dartington, built this and also built County Hall. And again, I think a testament to some good building at the time under the auspices of Councillor Morris, who, as you know, is still going. I think Percy saw him very recently, and he was the chairman of the libraries at the time. So he had some foresight at the time to actually build a good building at the ditto with County Hall. What I really want to say is a thank you to everybody involved in running our library services. Obviously there have been some interesting times over the past few years, but it's great to see that Devon libraries are continuing. I know Councillor Crowe is in charge of it, can't be here today, but he would say that, let's remind you all, we haven't closed a single library in Devon. Things might have changed, there might be some different ways of operating, but at the end of the day, all the libraries are continuing, and we've had this massive investment in the Exeter Library, which is really the jewel in crown. And I think you'd agree that Exeter, being our county town, deserves a superb library, and it's got one. I think a lot of people, when they thought about a refurbishment, they wondered what it would look like, but I have to say, you and your team, you've done a really good job. And you've actually brought this library up to the 21st century, which is what it needs to be. And I'm also delighted, I see we're opening 7 days a week. So again, rather than cutting back on this service, we're opening even more days. So I think it really is a tremendous achievement. But again, it wouldn't be possible without all the staff, without all the volunteers now. I think another particularly lovely touch is that you get welcomed when you come into the library. I think that makes a real difference. So if I can end by saying it's been a great previous 50 years. It's super the library's still here. We look forward to the next 50 years and beyond. It'll be interesting. I don't know what will be happening in 50 years' time. But
we'll still be working.
Well, yes, I think we'll probably be retiring at 100 by then. You won't draw your pension until you're well into your 100s, yes. But it is great to see we now have a library fit for the next 50 years, opening 7 days a week, with volunteers, with excellent staff, and I thank you all for that, and thank you very much for coming today. Thank you.